Seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. No illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking gun that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away, and that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, that is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family. Oh.
Earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business. I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that. See, when I see you do a clip and you go to TD's church, and I watch you write a check for $1 million in front of the congregation, and you give it to this man, was that for the congregation to give more money? Or was that really genuine?
She's so fierce.
See, when no one's watching, who are you? So when everyone's watching, and we got a chance to see him when no one was watching.
Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of us.
First person to pay Taraji P. Henson the most money she's ever made. And then we said, but did you pay her fairly? And then he said, I paid her more than she's ever made. What does that mean, brother?
Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. He says, you know, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his...
Just when it seemed like Malcolm Jamal's passing wasn't suspicious, Katt Williams and Monique jumped into the conversation, and trust, they're telling a whole different tale. Both Katt and Monique have been calling out the entertainment world for a while now, and Malcolm's unexpected death has pulled them right back into the spotlight. From what they're saying, there's more to this story than what we've been told, and Tyler Perry might be more involved than we thought. Tyler was quick to put together a public tribute for Malcolm after news of his death surfaced, but word on the street is that it was all a front. Monique and Katt have had beef with Tyler for a long time, and this has only reignited the fire. Rumor has it that Tyler tried to rope Malcolm into some sketchy industry dealings, but Malcolm wasn't having it. Right before he could speak out, he suddenly passed away overseas. Buckle up, because what's coming might just blow your mind. As most of you already know, Malcolm died a few days ago. According to the reports, he was out swimming at a beach in Costa Rica with his 8-year-old daughter when he drowned. His daughter nearly drowned too, but a surfer was able to save her. Malcolm, however, was pulled from the ocean by a volunteer lifeguard who performed CPR, but sadly, it was too late. The autopsy, released by the Forensic Pathology Department, concluded that Malcolm died from asphyxiation due to drowning, and it was ruled an accident.
That seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. No illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking gun that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away, and that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, that is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family. Oh.
Earlier.
Now, most would assume the autopsy confirmed he simply drowned and ruled out any suspicion. But instead, it only fueled more doubt and made people question what really happened even more.
Quick word. Somebody on a big stage is about to fall.
The hour, a star from The Cosby Show has died.
Malcolm Jamal Warner drowned yesterday while on vacation with his family.
You see, before Malcolm passed, he was reportedly dealing with conflict involving a major figure in the entertainment world. Although he never publicly revealed who it was, many people suspect it was Tyler Perry. Just a few days before his death, Malcolm gave an interview where he discussed being offered a film role by a well-known individual, but accepting it would have meant compromising his values and doing things he wasn't comfortable with. Apparently, this wasn't the first shady offer he'd received from that person. Malcolm had already walked away from millions of dollars over the years, not just from this individual, but also from other producers trying to pull similar stunts in the industry.
Of coming out the gate with Cosby, which put me in a position where, and because I've always had a good team around me, I've always been in a position where I've had the luxury of being meticulous about the kind of roles that I choose. My mom was really instrumental in getting me to understand the concept of longevity, the concept of, being versatile within this business, because she would always say, if you look at anyone in this business who's had longevity, there are times when they've been hot and times when they've not been hot. You have to decide what you're going to do during those times when you're not hot, so you're not making desperate acting choices. I've been for.
At first, people didn't read too much into it, but in hindsight, many started suspecting that Malcolm might have been talking about Tyler Perry. What added fuel to the fire was the timing of Malcolm's interview, which happened just as Tyler was hit with a lawsuit from Derek Dixon, an actor from one of his shows. Derek accused Tyler of assault and blackballing him after he rejected alleged sexual advances. He's currently suing Tyler for a whopping $260 million and even included screenshots of messages supposedly showing Tyler acting inappropriately in his DMs. In the lawsuit, Derek details a disturbing moment where Tyler allegedly pulled down his underwear, grabbed his behind, and told him to relax and just let it happen, assuring it wouldn't hurt. Derek says he avoided the situation by quickly switching the topic. The public believed the allegations pretty fast. Mainly because before Derek, actor Christian Keys had also made a cryptic social media post hinting that Tyler had tried something similar. While Christian didn't name him outright, the clues made it easy to connect the dots.
I spoke to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. This person was second me for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. Not just women that have to deal with it, but it's also men sometimes, and it'll be men tempting men. I was like, well, I gotta protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work. So I started recording. So I have them offering me money to take my clothes off. I have recordings when I wasn't working with them or for them. I have recordings of them confessing that, the other guys that they have on the payroll, all of the above.
And speaking of Christian, things between him and Tyler appear to have gone even further downhill. Just days after Derek filed his lawsuit, Christian took to social media to announce he was pulling his show from BET and Tyler's network, citing behind-the-scenes sabotage. Naturally, people were quick to assume he was implying that Tyler was trying to blacklist him, possibly because he refused to go along with some alleged inappropriate demands. Folks instantly connected the dots, believing it was payback for not giving in to Tyler's advance.
Transparency. It is disappointing to continuously find out that your show is coming back on the internet instead of finding out from the network. And I've mentioned that in previous seasons, and it's still happening. Or to see the trailer online and have to go search for the trailer so I can try to download the trailer for the hit show that I created for this studio and this network, instead of getting it sent when everybody else is getting theirs. It does feel dismissive and disrespectful when it continues to happen and you've addressed it and it still happens. So at this point, I do not believe that the prequel series that I've written and the spin-off show, any prequel or sequels, I do not believe I'll be doing them with BET. Whether you noticed or not, season 2, my Created by credit was removed. And I asked to get it back and they said no. And I ended up having to call the WGA, call the union to force the studio to give me my credit back that I had earned. I created this 15 years ago and I've been working on it for 15 years. I think God gave it to me because he knew I was going to protect it, and I will. But some things, you know, these things got to change. In the prequel and sequel space, unfortunately, there are going to be a few personnel changes. You know, sometimes it happens, unfortunately, where some people get entitled or arrogant and unprofessional and, you know, start coming to work high and inebriated on a regular basis, or start saying whatever they want to when the camera's rolling, and disrespectful ad-libs and things. And those things will be addressed. So there may be some personnel changes, but the show will go on.
At first, no one thought Malcolm had any ties to the drama, especially since he and Tyler never had any known public interaction. But people started raising eyebrows when Tyler held a private memorial table reading at his studio and invited the cast of Read Between the Lines, a show Malcolm starred in. While the gesture appeared to be a heartfelt tribute, many online began to question the real motive behind it. Some suggested that Tyler may have played a part in Malcolm's passing and that this private event was just a smokescreen. The suspicions grew even more when the old interview of Malcolm resurfaced, where he talked about walking away from millions offered by a high-profile producer. Nobody is outright saying Tyler caused Malcolm's death, but let's just say the speculation is growing online. Tyler's known for allegedly moving shady when things don't go his way, and Monique and Katt Williams have not held back when it comes to exposing him. Monique has been calling him out for years, especially after claiming he played a major role in blacklisting her from Hollywood. According to her, it all started after she refused to promote Precious, a film co-produced by Tyler and Oprah and directed by Lee Daniels. Monique said she was paid just $50,000 to star in the film, a sum she accepted without complaint. But things took a turn when Tyler and Oprah allegedly pushed her to go on an unpaid international press tour to promote it. Monique declined, explaining that she wasn't under contract to do promotional work for free. And ever since then, she says, her career has suffered, and she firmly believes Tyler had a hand in that downfall.
You had difficult demands.
I want to address it for the order that it went in. And when Mr. Daniels said I had these demands, it shocked me because I was saying to the screen, Don, please ask him what the demands were. Mm-hmm. And actually, there were no demands. There was a request from the movie studio, and they called and requested that I fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival. I simply said I respectfully declined, because if you can remember at the time, there was a talk show called The Monique Show. I was doing a comedy tour. I was actually in the award season of the awards, and I'm also a wife, and I'm a mommy. So when they called, I had a couple days just downtime. I wanted to spend that with my husband and my kids. So when we said we respectfully declined, the movie studio called back again. And they said, okay, well, we'll upgrade her hotel room. And my husband simply said again, we respectfully decline. She's gonna take this time with her family. Yeah. Well, when the third call came and they said, what is it gonna take to get Monique to France, to the Cannes Film Festival? And my husband said, is there a number associated with it? And they said, oh, we would never pay for anyone to do any promotions for a movie. And we said we understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend.
Yeah. But
so
you're saying that because you didn't have the money to do this on your own. Is that what you're saying? That you needed to feed your family and pay your bills?
I think that's what America says. Yeah. I think we all say, I can't do it for free. Right. So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them. Okay. But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult. They had a request, we simply had a request, and they said they couldn't do it, and we said we understood. That was it. So Tyler Perry says to me, listen, you may really want to consider promoting this film, because if you get nominated for an Oscar award, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. I said, Tyler, who you talking to? I'm a black woman. Where do they pay those type of salaries, brother? I said, what I cannot do, Tyler, is work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I cannot go overseas and do this for free, Tyler. So then he goes on about his spiel, you know. I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not going to do it for free. He says, well, I don't believe in giving money away for free. I said, I don't believe in working for free, so we're on the same page.
Now, when it comes to Katt, he's never hidden the fact that he's not a fan of Tyler, mainly because he believes Tyler uses his influence to tear down black men and portray them as feminine, even when that's not who they are. Katt made this statement after actor and voice coach Brandon Jay came forward, accusing Tyler of forcing him to play a gay character in the series Meet the Browns. Jay initially auditioned for the role of Jeffrey, a bullied high school student. But Tyler reportedly changed the character at the last minute, deciding that Jeffrey would be gay and have a crush on a classmate. Jay admitted he felt uneasy about the change but said Tyler threatened to fire him, leaving him no real choice.
Here's a story time about how filming Meet the Browns was the most stressful and hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I had no idea that Tyler Perry Studios' schedule was so drastic. If you're working on a regular network show, they take a whole week to film an episode. Tyler Perry Studios, they film an episode in one day. The character was Jeffrey, a fat high school teenager who was very intellectual, who was getting bullied at school. I take 2 to 3 days to learn the entire script. On the day of filming, first thing we do is a table read. I know all of my lines. I'm ready to go. So the director, who is Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he starts to block us, telling the actors where to go, where to stand. Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry on the spot starts rewriting the entire script, and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you. Here is where the shoe hit the fan. So in the middle of Mr. Perry changing up the scenes, he says, you know, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his bully. That's not what I auditioned for.
A lot of folks went in on Tyler for this, saying the reason he pushed Brandon into that role was because he's on the down low and projecting his own issues onto him. Katt Williams didn't hold back either. He added fuel to the fire by saying the only reason Tyler plays Madea so well is because he couldn't convincingly play a regular male character if his life depended on it. And have y'all watched the latest Madea movie? People are saying it's obvious. Tyler shines more as Madea than in any role where he has to portray a man. That's what the streets are saying, not me.
Katt Williams, don't nobody know who he is. I'm on the radio. I'm with Steve and Sam. Everybody know me. That's what he told everybody that would listen to on the set. That's the truth of the matter. He was so egregious, not now, then. He was so egregious that, and Hollywood has never heard this in 100 years. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Katt?
That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's still no solid proof that Tyler had anything to do with Malcolm's death just because Malcolm allegedly turned him down. But that hasn't stopped people from believing it, and they're standing firm, especially after the claims made by Monique and Katt. One person commented, "I think Malcolm was taken out." The story kept changing every few minutes. "I knew it wasn't just an accident." Someone else added, "They said a neurological drug was found in his system. It paralyzed his muscles and made it impossible to escape." Another claim going around is that Malcolm was seen drinking from a bottle right before going into the ocean, and now, apparently, that bottle is missing. It's all sounding too suspicious. But now I want to hear from y'all. What's your take on Malcolm Jamal's mysterious drowning while abroad? And do you believe the things Monique and Katt Williams have been saying about Tyler? Drop your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to click here to watch the next messy deep dive.